Mexico in the Fallout universe. Part of what makes Fallout a Fallout game is the setting. The American culture of the 1950s mixed with the post-apocalyptic wasteland is a great combination. There's always a reminder of how the world used to be before the Great War, from posters and buildings to cars and even the remains of people that were just enjoying the day when the bombs dropped. But don't you wonder what happened to the other countries in the world? What would Canada be like before the war? What was its relationship with the US like? And what about China? We've seen government propaganda, but we all know it's kind of exaggerated. But today I'm not here to talk about those. I'm here to talk about the other neighbors, Mexico. It's been mentioned a couple of times in different Fallout games, that being 1, 2, New Vegas, and the Honest Hearts DLC, but we don't have a clear picture. But today I'm going to share with you all the info that we have and the stories of a few Mexicans that we know from the series. Spoiler alert for the Honest Hearts DLC and Raoul's personal quest in Fallout New Vegas. First of all, there's extra information about Mexico and other kinds of stuff and culture in the unreleased Van Buren game, which we know it's not canon since it was released, so I won't cover it here. In 2042, a major earthquake takes place in Mexico City. The Mr. Handy general construction robot becomes the leader in sales in Mexico. While Mexico was never annexed as Canada was, the US, seeking to protect business interests and their oil supply, invaded the country in 2051. The country was home to PetroChico, a subsidiary company of Poseidon Energy that specialized in oil refinement, controlling nearly all of the oil flowing up to Las Vegas. PetroChico had administrative holdings in the states of Veracruz, Puebla, and Hidalgo. On October 23, 2077, Mexico is nuked. Along with most of the planet, Mexico City is hit and destroyed by nuclear weapons. After the war, the NCR takes over Baja, and under orders from President Kimball, the new California Republic Rangers were deployed to the area in 2281 for what Chief Hanlon describes as chasing ghosts, but eventually recalls them to the Mojave Wasteland, although they do not have enough control to annex it to the Republic. Some NCR troopers say, "I heard the Rangers' beds are coming from Baja. I've never seen one before, but I heard they chew nails and spit napalm." In Fallout 2, there's a character named Tuco Benedicto Pacifico Juan Maria Ramirez, simply Tuco. He's a mercenary captain hired by John Bishop in 2241. He lives in the Mercenaries Cave, a very small cave system halfway between Broken Hills and Vault City, which forms the base of operations for a group of raiders led by Angel Eye and currently hired out by the Bishop family. Tuco is dressed in combat armor and his weapons look almost new. His dog tags, as well as those of Angel Eyes and Blondie, can be used to open the raider's safe, as a piece of the lock combination has been printed on each one of them, and he is likely killed by the Chosen One during the events of Fallout 2 in order to protect Vault City. Another worth mentioning faction from Fallout 2 is the Mordinos, headed by Señor Big Jesus Mordino. The Mordinos are the more powerful family in New Reno around 2241, inhabiting the Desperado Casino. What I like to point out is that most of the notable members have Mexican names, including the boss. Honest Hearts DLC. Sometime after the war, a group of Mexican survivors arrive at Zion Canyon, formed of Jose, Selena, Elena, and Carmen, and approximately other 24, but we don't have enough information about them. They were monitored by the survivalists, the only inhabitant of the canyon, also known as Randall Clark. Jose broke his leg chasing a Vic Horner, later contracting a fatal infection. He was expected to die, however Randall left a bottle of antibiotics on a rock near this group's camp, which they used to heal him. In 2096, a group of Vault 22 dwellers infected with the Biovaria mordicana arrived in the area, killing and eating the Mexicans. The women were captured and put in pens, and after all the abuse, they were eaten by the residents of Vault 22, along with the rest of the survivors. Clark was unable to rescue them, but he killed most of the Vault 22 dwellers. Some of them died due to their lethal infection. I encourage you to look up history of Randall Clark because he's an amazing character. Fallout New Vegas, Raoul Tejada. In Fallout New Vegas, there's a ghoul living in the prison building at the top of Black Mountain, known as Raúl Alfonso Tejada. He's a Mexican ghoul, mechanic, and gunslinger. Born in 2047, by the time of the events of Fallout New Vegas, he's 234 years old. Raoul grew up in Hidalgo Ranch just outside of Mexico City. He was a marksman and a mechanic, both of which occasionally got him in trouble with law. During the war, the ranch he lived on was spared from atomic destruction due to being located in a remote area. The ranch was beset by refugees seeking food and shelter. The Tejada family was as accommodating as they could be, but the amount of refugees was too much for them to handle. Raoul's father was forced to turn down any more unfortunates seeking for help due to their resources becoming scarce. At one point, Raoul and his father even had to drive off the remaining refugees as things became violent. But later that night, about 24 men returned and set fire to the ranch house, burying the doors from the outside to prevent any escape. Raoul awoke to the smell of smoke and was able to sneak himself and his sister Rafaela Tejada out of a window, receiving burns across his body in the process. The rest of his family, consisting of his mother, father, grandmother, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters, perished in the flames. The pair then traveled to the radioactive ruins of Mexico City. The intense radiation of their surroundings soon started affecting Raoul, commencing the first stages of his ghoulification. It was also there that Raoul found a novelty costume shop where he found a vaquero outfit, that's basically a cowboy outfit, in good condition while searching for cloth to wrap his wounds. Suffering from radiation poisoning, Raoul eventually became too ill to scavenge with his sister. As such, she was left to provide for the 2 on her own. One day, after she failed to return from a market where she had been scavenging for food, was brutally murdered. Her corpse was violated so horribly that she was identifiable only by a tiny scar on her knee from when she was a little girl. When Raoul found out, filled by anger, he tracked down the raiders responsible at the market and killed them to the very last man. He salvaged what was left of the raider gang's possession and left Mexico City. Later on, bearing a new identity in a Petro Chico jumpsuit, he eventually arrived in the Arizona town of Tucson, now known as Tucson. He settled there, became a mechanic, and a general handyman. He met a prostitute named Claudia and started to develop a strong relationship with her, until she was took as a prisoner when a ruthless raider gang invaded the town. Enraged, Raoul pursued the gang. They had a head start and sleep nights. Raoul didn't. After 3 days of continuous pursuit, he finally caught up with them. By the time he found Claudia, she was already dead. This ignited a familiar feeling in Raoul, the vengefulness he'd felt at Rafaela's death. He ended up killing every single one of them. Dirty Dave and his gang were over. Dejected, Raoul has wandered west to the Mojave wasteland. He swore to himself that he was done with the gunslinging life since he's starting to feel his age. While there, he stumbled upon the signal of the Black Mountain radio and started listening to it to pass the time. One day, he lost the signal being transmitted and decided to have a look. And after fixing the radio, he was captured by Tabitha, a night teen living in the Black Mountain, and Raoul remains locked in a small room until the courier decides to free him. Fallout 4. So the only 2 characters that have any kind of relationship with Mexico are the Mechanist, aka Isabel Cruz. The thing is that she doesn't have a Mexican accent. Her accent sounds American, so there's no implication that she is, or maybe she just got her last name from her mother or father, and that's that. However, we do know a Mexican character, and that is Arturo Rodriguez. He is the owner of the Commonwealth Weaponry, a weapon shop located inside the Diamond City Market. He has a daughter named Nina Rodriguez, and what's interesting is that Arturo has a strong Mexican accent, unlike Isabel. While we don't know 100%, I'd say it is likely. Now I want to mention a couple of weapons that allude to Mexican culture, and we'll start with one of my favorite rifles in New Vegas, Paciencia. So Paciencia is a unique version of the hunting rifle. It has a 3-round magazine, but also has a higher damage than the regular variant, as well as a higher item HP. Its main advantage over the standard variant is its extremely high critical damage, which is an astoundingly 110 points, equal to the anti-material rifle, a very powerful sniper rifle in Fallout New Vegas. A Mexican flag is also wrapped around the stock for use as a makeshift cheek rest. Paciencia means patience in Spanish, likely because you only have 3 rounds per magazine and you have to pick your shots carefully. Maria. Fan favorite weapon, the M&A 9mm pistol is a semi-automatic handgun designed by M&A gun manufacturers. Maria is a unique variant of the 9mm pistol. It has a higher rate of fire, more damage per shot, it is more accurate, and has higher durability than the standard variant. This weapon has an image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, also known as La Virgen de Guadalupe, a well-known Catholic figure and a representation of the biblical woman of the apocalypse, painted on the pearl grips of the firearm. The entire body of the pistol is damaged with ivy and floral details with a polished nickel finish and a golden trigger. It is also the gun used by Benny to shoot the courier in the Fallout New Vegas introduction cutscene. The aureole of luminous light surrounding the lady is reminiscent of the woman clothed with the sun. The light is also a sign of the power of God, who has sanctified and blessed the one who appears. The rays of the sun will also be recognized by the native people as a symbol of their highest god, which I believe fits well with how Benny is presented to us at the start of the game. We are basically powerless to stop him, and we also know he's the head of the chairman, an important group of New Vegas, which we end up meeting once we keep playing the main story. Anyway, that's all the information I could find about Mexico and its culture in the Fallout universe. If you think I missed anything, just please be sure to leave it in the comments, and note that I didn't include any kind of cut content on used NPCs or something like that, because they're not considered canon. We don't have any kind of confirmation, so I choose not to include it. Yes, there's extra information about non-playable characters and other kinds of stuff like scripts and sprays about, you know, the unfinished Van Buren project, but I choose not to include it. There's also extra info about Baja in the Fallout Bible, but we don't know if it's true or not, so I'd rather just stick with something that's lore friendly and canon. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you have any suggestions for any kind of future lore videos, please be sure to leave them in the description, and have a wonderful day.
Range. I mean, why take chances, right? Besides, I had to come up with every trick in the book to survive the capital wasteland.
What were you doing in the capital wasteland?
I was born there. Lived underground in a place called Little Lamplight with a bunch of other kids. Left there when I was around 16. We kind of had a policy there. No adults. When you were 16, you packed up and left. I know, it sounds crazy, but having adults around was something we couldn't trust.
How could a bunch of kids survive without help?
Everyone pulled their own weight. Just like a colony you'd find anywhere. We all had our designated jobs and we watched each other's backs. Can you believe I was actually the mayor for a while? Me. Crazy, I know.
Pretty brave. Bunch of kids living alone like that?
I don't know. Looking back on the whole thing, I think we were just lucky. Anyway, when I hit 16, I ended up wandering the capital